Putin and by his cronies in Russia. We haven't reacted before. Theresa May was strong on this straight away, was she not? Where in other situations, the West has been weak at times.
Well, I think it's to some degree because of the nature of the act itself, that is the use of a chemical agent in this context. But it's also, as you were suggesting a moment ago, of Russians they have on so many prior occasions, the Litvinenko case, and in that instance, I think it took some time to respond because the British intelligence and the British authorities want to be very careful in investigating what had happened before they leveled charges specifically. You then had the MH17 downing of the airliner, the Malaysian airliner in Ukraine. Once again, the Russians, rather than saying we'll cooperate with you, including the UN investigation, in order to get to the bottom of this, simply denied it, refused to cooperate. You had the same thing when you had the alleged chemical attack by Assad's forces in Syria, and now you get it once again. And given the scale or the significance of what was done, a chemical agent used against citizens of another sovereign country, that was, I think, for most people, enough is enough. It's just too much. Because the vast majority of countries that have now joined in punishing the Russians by expelling diplomats clearly do not have access to the British intelligence. That has not been shared with that number of countries. Maybe the U.S. does, it may be that the Germans do, but it means that countries are reacting to the Russians without necessarily having to have it proved to them that they did it. And as I said, I think that's because they've just had it with the so-called plausible deniability.
Robert Ledwell, thank you very much for your time and your expertise. Emeritus Professor of Political Science at Columbia University, 556. Just targets, including Big Ben, Heathrow Airport, and the Westfield Shopping Centre. He wanted to create an army of children to assist him. Overseas Lucy Huff has been for some
and carrying out terrorist role-playing, acting attacks on police officers and trying called Army of Children to help him carry out those terror attacks on the UK. Now, Commander Dean Hayden from the Metropolitan Police said he abused his position at both schools.
Over a 5-year period, Hack had access, we believe, to about 250 children. Part of the investigation now was to ask a group of children to fully understand who he had radicalised. So we believe 10 were probably radicalised, and 35 now, those are receiving long-term support from us. When I say us, that's a multi-agency team now involving both police, the local authority, social services and the Home Office to help prevent and safeguard them longer term.
Now, we know that Hack was planning to use those children to carry out attacks on 30 high-profile targets on the UK. Now, extensive research.
Those attack plans involved the use of weapons. He was researching terrorist propaganda from various organisations based overseas. He looked at bomb-making instructions. Coming back to the children, he was considering teaching them to drive. And as a result, any long-term attack plan looked as if he was going to use those children at various times to carry out the attacks with him.
Now, the Met says that when they were investigating Hack's activities with children, they were met with a wall of silence. Those children described as being paralysed with fear. But the judge today at the Old Bailey called him a dangerous liar and has sentenced him to life in prison with a minimum term of 25 years. Lucy, thank you very much indeed for that update. Just a final call from Vince. He's in Borough Green in Kent. As we've been talking about what it is to be in the emergency services, what it takes. Vince, welcome to the show. We only have half a minute or so, sir.
Okay, just quickly on the point is the Manchester Fire Service obviously held back for whatever reason the communication failure.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the firefighters waiting were obviously very, very, very frustrated because they want to basically get in there, do their best, because as a firefighter, that is your main job, is to life whatever the best you can when you get to an incident. So had they not been in charge of the incident, because it's not a fire, they would have basically been controlled by the police, the ambulance service, just wherever possible. The disastrous, nasty attack.
Okay. Maybe they were hopping from foot to foot. Thanks for all the contribution. Next at 6 p.m. This is LBC.
On FM, online, on your mobile, and on digital radio. Leading Britain's conversation. This is...
From Global's newsroom, a report found poor communication and poor procedures kept firefighters out of the loop following the Manchester Arena attack. The fire service took 2 hours to attend the scene of the explosion, which killed 22 people last May. The Kerslake reviews also found failings in a telecoms network, which meant relatives couldn't be contacted. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham has told Andrew the review was called in response to frontline concerns.
The bottom line is frontline firefighters were let down by their seniors, and there's no getting. In all of these instances, it's not good to cover up. It's right to be honest, isn't it? And then we can make the changes necessary to improve things.
The Prime Minister's welcomed the decision of at least 25 countries to expel Russian diplomats. 7 staff at NATO's Russian mission have also been told to leave. NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg says Moscow will have a reduced intelligence capability.
This sends a clear message to Russia that there are costs and consequences for its unacceptable and dangerous pattern of behavior. And it follows Russia's lack of constructive response to what happened in Salisbury.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has accused the US of colossal blackmail by putting pressure on other countries to act. Separately, the Prime Minister sent a letter of condolence to President Putin following a shopping centre fire in eastern Russia. Media reports say around 2/3 of the 64 people who died in Siberia were children. A police inspector has been jailed for at least 19 years for murdering his wife and dumping her body in a lake in Cheshire. 43-year-old Darren Mackay strangled fellow officer Leanne last September. LBC's Ellie Linford is at Chester Crown Court.
Darren Mackay remained emotionless as he was sentenced to a minimum of 19 years in prison for the cruel murder of his wife Leanne. Behind him, Leanne's mum sobbed as the court heard the details of her daughter's death. The judge said Mackay abused his knowledge of police investigation to callously cover up the killing.
Mark Zuckerberg's refusal to give evidence to MPs has been described as absolutely astonishing. The Facebook founder had been summoned by the Digital Media, Culture and Sport Committee following allegations about misuse of personal data. Reports in the US suggest Mr. Zuckerberg is preparing to testify to Congress instead. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has apologised unreservedly after being accused of making a sexist comment. Commons Speaker John Bercow intervened when Mr. Johnson referred to the Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry by her married name, Lady Nugie. The LBC Markets report the FTSE 100s closed up 111 at 7,000. The pound buys $1.41 and €1.13. LBC weather. Clear spells for most tonight. Some showers in parts of northern England and Scotland. Further heavy rain then pushing into the south later. A low of 2 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Thomas Watts.
LBC Travel, and there are delays of an hour on the A40 in West London. Heading westbound towards emergency repairs at Northolt, only one lane is open there. There are long queues for the A14 in Cambridgeshire, only one lane open westbound as you head towards 31 to the M11 with a serious accident. The M5 in Worcestershire is slow northbound to an accident at junction 5 for Droitwich, and on London Underground, severe delays for the Piccadilly line. LBC Travel, I'm J. Louise Knight.
This is LBC.
Are estate agents revolting? At eMove we are really revolting. We're revolting and revolutionising to create an easier and fairer way to sell your home. We're calling it an e-movement, combining the benefits and savings of online with real dedicated property experts at every step of your sale. Revolt with us. Join the e-movement. Visit emove.co.uk. Rated the UK's #1 hybrid estate agent on All Agents.
This is LBC. LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Andrew Castle.
6, it's Tuesday evening, the 7th of March. Andrew Castle in for Ian Dale here at Drive, just until 7 o'clock this evening. We're talking about free speech, notably free speech at universities. Is it under threat? 0345 6060 973 if you want to get involved in this debate, because we do have free speech here within reason. There are rules and regulations, but you will not be platformed here unless you really deserve it. This is not a safe space. This is an open forum. We follow broadcast rules, so we'll try to remember that as we lay the rules out. But free speech under threat. Now, you think about Rhodes Must Fall. You think about Jacob Rees-Mogg going to the University of West England and having to suffer the indignity, having been invited there, of having a protester getting into. It's not on, is it? Well, it was off a university campus, but you'll remember Winston Churchill. People were moaning about Winston Churchill, weren't they? At that cafe, they closed the cafe down. Listen, if you can't talk a whole load of absolute tosh at university, you know, right or wrong, some people may consider it aggressive language, even racism, even sexism, you should be able to talk at university, because let me tell you, when you grow up, when you actually have to live in the real world, you do moderate yourself. At university, it should be a time of free spirit. It should be a time of free speech. You should be able to air views one way or the other and either be shouted down or agreed with. Guess what? That's real life. That's what happens. Not everybody agrees with you. And I know not everyone's going to agree with me on this, but you should be able to talk a whole load of nonsense at university, and nobody should be censoring. It is extremely dangerous to censor free speech. Can we at least agree on all that? Two contributors, Fraser Mars, a contributor at Spiked online, and I'll be speaking with someone else in just a second who might have in a slightly different view on that. But Fraser, at Spiked Online, well, first, tell people what Spiked Online is, and a very good evening to you.
Good evening. Yes, Spiked Online is a free online magazine, and we take a particular interest in free speech. So actually, for a couple of years, we've been monitoring the state of free speech on university campuses, and I can tell you for nothing that every year it's pretty bad. At the moment, around 55% of universities actively censor student speech.
How much? How many?
55%. Policies in place that actively censor student speech.
Okay, we have to be careful about what we're talking about here. But when it comes to free speech, is there anything in terms of your attitude and the attitude, perhaps editorial of Spiked Online? Is there anything which is beyond the pale?
Absolutely nothing when it comes to speech. I think we believe in free speech with no buts, because as soon as you introduce a caveat, then it's over. It's no longer free. It becomes licensed speech, and you can basically say what you're allowed to know, what is permitted, what is allowed by someone else. In this type of speech is completely free of any restrictions.
And it's under threat at the moment of intolerant attitude, says a report from MPs and peers. It warns red tape and confusion over what is permissible is as much of a problem as no platforming, which bans controversial speakers. Who's making the rules on university campus as to who can be listened to, who can be invited, and who can contribute to university life in this way? Who actually has overall control of this? Sounds like rule at times.
Well, it's a combination of unions and universities themselves, and
you are now approaching
it's a culture of intolerance that students have. Universities are playing a bigger role year upon year, and I think that's because students have given them a license to censor. So actually, universities would rather not have controversial speakers on campuses. It's bad for their reputation. It costs a lot in terms of security, and sometimes student activity will often justify a university crackdown. So for instance, just the other week, King's College London effectively no-platformed one of their own lecturers, and he was going to give a speech on, surprise, surprise, the importance of free speech. And this is following a risk assessment by the university, because they thought there was too great a risk of protest, of disruption. So actually the two work hand in hand. There's, intolerant students, but there's also, wary university bureaucrats as well.
It's an interesting situation, isn't it? Because, let's be honest, universities are they? You tell me, they're more likely to ban far-right speakers than they are far-left speakers.
I think that's true. Although there are some prescribed, organisations that the US, have banned on the far left. I don't see it necessarily as a left-right issue. I think it's more one where, free speech is not particularly in high regard in universities, and there's an overwhelming culture of identity politics, and that's a real barrier to debate, because when you're debating ideas around, say, sexuality, race, gender, religion, people feel as if you're attacking them themselves rather than discussing ideas. So that becomes a justification to shut them down.
So why is everybody suddenly taking? Why is somebody? Sorry to interrupt, Fraser. Why are people? I'm shutting down your speech just for a second. My apologies. But why do people? Why are students now, or in fact, are students now too sensitive? Is this a different generation than has gone on before? Are they less resilient, less tolerant of just plain old personal criticism?
I think that's true. I also don't want to paint a picture that it's all students. I think it's quite a vocal minority that are leading this. I think that what worries me is that a lot of students just aren't that bothered, and so aren't leading a fight back in the way that perhaps they should be. But yeah, and actually the older generation have to take a lot of the blame for raising generation of overly sensitive. I don't like the word snowflake, to be honest, because it apportions blame to young people when really it's the environment they've grown up in.
You know what? I'm having a look at something that Maria Huatia talked about, the president of the National Union of Students. I don't know whether she still is or not, but she was. Well, I'm reading this particular article. She said no platform and safe space policies create an environment where students and staff are free from harassment and fear. That's quite noble.
Well, it's unfortunately not true. I think what you see is that the more safe space policies there are, actually the more, I don't want to say violent, but the more certainly aggressive the protest against speakers becomes, because as soon as you equate words with violence and say that censorship is making you safe and you're unsafe if a controversial speaker were to speak on campus, then actually that justifies more aggressive, more intolerant attitudes.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes people less free.
Have you ever felt stifled or did you feel stifled at university? What's it like at university now? It's 0345 6060 973. Professors are known to be around about the 90% in Russell Group, I believe that was. Around about 90% of university professors think that we should have stayed in the European Union, for instance. So it's not easy, is it, in lecture halls to be without influence from, was it Michael Gove who called them the blob originally?
Yeah, I mean there is a certain groupthink in academia. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily what is behind the stifling of speech. I think that goes way beyond Brexit and these other things. I wouldn't necessarily put it down, as I said, to a left-right thing. I consider myself a lefty, and I've always seen free speech as one of the fundamental principles of the left, which I think they seem to have forgotten these days. It's been completely abandoned.
You're a lefty at Spiked Online?
Absolutely.
How rare are you?
We're all lefties. We all think of ourselves as lefties.
Do you?
Spiked.
People
don't agree with that.
Really? I didn't see it that way, but that's sort of interesting.
And I don't like strangers, so don't bring them round. Talking about this money, you look like a noun.
The six-figure music, baby.
Section Them boy, they're fake. Sideways. Couldn't be made. We need to escape. Bro, that could have been Jay. Green cold, put smoke in the pave. She involved that I normally rave. I do rave and I do it with K. She don't smoke, but she drink all day. Big back in the tea is okay. She giving me, she can never be paid. Touch bro, trying to your whole face. My John's in rooms with Kane. Bro had a trade to the trade. I make daughter ring the phone every day. Bro, call the spaceship, that's a plane. Feel fresh and play within the game. I'm like, no, don't panic. Slow down from an old still bagging. Bang, bang, and your soul can't grab it. Whip it out like go gadget. Get an old soul, you got no dough. Niggas can't be trapping. I'm like Coco in the Pyrex. When it's mixed with magic, I get shit cracking. And I come back harder. Beds in my rear view, move faster. Find a low-key spot, then we park up. Tryna get a kilo right after. Mad times on my P's low. But now I've got green like CeeLo. Niggas can't try me like T's low. And I've had more shots than a free throw. Niggas know how we roll. Splash it, smash work, then I go like magic. When I see them man there, they panic. Touch my G's, then it can get tragic. Hands on the stick, I show man havoc. In a manual with an automatic. Think I won't roll up like a big split, big 458, that'll do damage. Shots for the day and the night, piece adding up. Pen girl cap for the pipe, she an addict. Dig that down till she ain't getting up. Dog, I've been up in the field like carrot. Act on the net like they wanna confront. Talking about beef, but I know they won't back it. Green lights, yeah, I roll with it in traffic. Trying to get left head to a right pack. Them in a section, them in a weirdos, them in a bare holes, them in a bookie, them in a actors, them in a washed up, them in a old now, them in salute me. 2-pack on the act got juicy. His work at the back look juicy. Spit truly. To a movie, left the machine with a doomy group. I never get roofy, I dig down, never been coochie. Man, I've been down, turn the big silver sticks out. Man, I stand up, man, sit down, tryna go collect a brick now, truly. I do me, I ain't gonna prove me. Don't panic, don't look at charts, man, grab where man is. Niggas know how we roll. Man, I'm ready when I'm stepping out there, roll, pre-roll. Yeah, man, me goes rounded, waiting on the tree load. Here in this theater, don't panic. Niggas know how we roll. Man, I'm ready when I'm stepping out there, roll, pre-roll. Yeah, man, me goes rounded, waiting on the tree load. Here in this theater, don't panic. Feeling like Ricky, looking at me. Man, I love the city, crazy but busy. Man, I stay busy. Man, a businessman, trying to get litty. Jack from Bricky, yes, you want a quickie. Don't be silly, push you got a willy. Back trying to kill. On my bed, back to Bricky. When she get lippy, I tell her get licky. Man, on a bitch, man, I get sippy. Dips on the zippy. Man, I take the Mickey. Shut your squeezy. Man, I don't pick me. Why like a gypsy? Please don't mix me. Buy the whiskey. Man, I get tipsy. Late night risky. Man, on a 50. Trying to make history. Like French, I tell them don't panic. Work there, still for be what I'm bagging. Say a 10-6 pack what I'm packing. Put your hands on my friend and his hands on train with a tray, turn you over like a handstand. To give it up, man, up, cause I'm handsome. Give me a brick, watch I think I get that one. I'm in the mix like raw and magic. No speed, no England, that means she just landed. 6 shots in the west, might be east where you're landing. I'm in all getting dough for package. Almost bad whizzing around behind dark tips. When I dig it, she said it doesn't come like a cactus. That's camera action, watch it actors. I gotta take a seat, the niggas fighting like a stand-up. Niggas know how we roll. Man, I've been ready when I'm stepping out there, roll, pre-roll. Yeah, my amigos crowded, waiting on the tree load. Here in this theater. Niggas know how we roll. Man, I've been ready when I'm stepping out there, roll, pre-roll. Yeah, my amigos crowded, waiting on the tree load. Here in this theater. Don't panic. Don't panic. She calls me a dog when she's chatting, looking at me like, hello, hello. If I don't think she's ghetto, bye-bye, gala get sent on, bye-bye. Walking through the streets of London, she picked up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks I'm ghetto. Thinks I'm ghetto. Thinks
think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Smile as she see my goatee, now thinks up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now thinks that she thinks that I'm ghetto. She calls me a dog, but she catting, looking at me like hello. Yo, this album got me stranded, don't know how I'm gonna get on. Put that smoke in the water, man, I get a green with Detto. Think she's Sketto, then that guy was 18 dark, you devil. Roll with the light and rebels. I'm strong like Uncle Steven, get money like Uncle Neville. She wants to D this evening, make her back and shake like Jello. To give a man hand that ceiling, pineapple feel like a Sketto. I can't trust him with a brick and that's levels. Don't trust her if she says what's the MO. And my diesel top and I'm smoking petrol. And I pray to God I don't listen to the devil. Them gal wanna hold me down, tell them gal I feel Lego. Smile as she see my gold teeth, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Painting see me on the street, wanna know who's that fellow. Who's that? From T, I don't know. Like me a dog which catting, looking at me like hello. If I won't think she's ghetto, bye bye gal I get sent on. Bye bye. Walking through the streets of London, I street up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Smile as she see my goatee, now think of a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Why is he looking at him? I'll take his eye off my dorsal. Man back with a thing. Man start off cooking like charcoal. Get cash and I get it in quick. You speedy, look at my car though. Now your girlfriend's looking all needy. You're a prick, you're a mug, you're an arsehole. Get the stick to the club in my dog's coat. Speed fast though, feet on the pedal. Run up on a boy for a grip, tell him Lego. No thanks or hello, just bang then echo. Man's been rebels, ain't been a victim, man's got medals. Waist on a stick, team, man's got metal. Raided the kitchen, man's got kettles. 100 boxes, man take 10. Jump in the frog ting, man's not Freddo. Prayed for a blackout, but man's not rich though. Walk with a scorch on, man's not ghetto. Walk not a talker, keep it up and in on my thoughts. I'm trying to vision a porch, I was a walker. Pen one, but I've had dogs in my kennel. Men always up in a bim and no Renault. I smile and her mind's getting great. I think that she thinks that I'm gay. Knows me as VP, she into my name. She thirsty, but she ain't gonna drink me today. Thinking the man was giving chips on the chain. Same clothes, ain't babe, trying to lick down the 8. White gold in my face, don't wave, but they hello. I think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. She calls me a dog, which she catting, looking at me like hello. If I don't think she's ghetto, bye gal I get sent on. Bye. Walking through the streets of London, I street up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Smile as she see my goatee, now think up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. She thinks that I'm ghetto. True say I walk with metal. Man, I've been on it from times like the young G's and the skid in a Reynolds. My stick be a prick like nettle, and the teeth them hot like kettle. Every day man smoke tree and with the grub and the fellows. Throwback days we were rebels. Now we go grab haze and we pedal. With the Michael J in pebbles. Train with the tray, that's a devil. KK got lines like Lidl. Man fiddle. When I walk past, then they turn their head back like they saw us. 1, 2, 3 when the 4 blast. I've seen 5 man run from 4 cars. 3 man in a whip with 2 stars. 1 driver, man I move too fast. No cypher when I got 9 bars. Bruce Willis, these niggas gon' die hard. On a brick like Lego. Sticks on sticks like meadow. Got a grip like a wrestle. Old school when I tell a man secco. Walk on the street. Quarter a brick, salt in the shit. Man I put the notes on my. She calls me a dog. If I don't think she's ghetto, bye gal I get sent on. Bye. Walking through the streets of London, I street up a brick like Lego. Smile as she see my goatee, now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Now think that she thinks that I'm ghetto. Thinks that I'm ghetto. Smile as she see my goatee, now think. Prank it aloud, I be selling my noise. Checking the crowd, pop a ticket for a voice. If I bang to my house, that's straight. Little spring man, that don't make noise. Trust, leaving the feeling like boy. Right and bang, got right man, please don't take man for boy. See a bang, holler like, my girl, yeah, you know what I'm looking at. Big batty in the face, Hey, them girls that I follow back, the paintings on the light, oi. She gave me an ass like doggy that. In the bedroom, all you hear is noise. What you talk about? See a bang bang on the light, oi. Big body looking like boy. Couple blind man no sky. Them girls wanna roll with the boys. See a bad bee looking like A. Pain, pain, bringing man joy. In the street, tell a brother don't try, man, I move like Andy, boom. I see a peng peng holler like hey, 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 yo, boy, she can tell her best friend get on my face. She ain't on ball, she ain't on dress. She walk in the rain cause she wanna get joy. Give a gal change so she give a man noise. Face on my brain, I ain't tryna have girls. Give a man brain, I ain't tryna have boys. When I say only, I mean it. Gal grip on tight when they feel it. Big body gal cute but she teething. I'm a businessman, I do meetings. Plus gal love me, I do greetings. She's straight through the weekend. She's a peng peng with pretty on fleek then. And if it's set like boy, let me see them. See a peng peng holler like boy. Big body looking like boy. Couple blind man no sky. Them gal wanna roll with the boys. See a bad bee looking like A. Peng peng bringing man joy. In the street tell a brother don't try, man I move like Andy. Got it like toys. See a peng peng holler like boy. Face okay with a back like boy. All day ring trap trying to get paid. Can't reload, nah that's no joy. Ain't got a chain with a sword like Trey. Tell a man can't take man for a boy. Move like Andy, got it like toys. Still get boxed with a right like Floyd. And I boy them man, them a big them. See the section, boy, them set trends. These are my bros in the West End. Get back on my own when I touch ends. Got calling me up for the long length. Yeah, said they want me and my brethren. Yeah, enough of them man, them I hate it. Cause they know say that we soon left them. See a peng peng holler like boy. Big body looking like boy. Couple blind man no sky. Them gal wanna roll with the boys. See a bad bee looking like A. Pain, pain, bringing man joy. In the street, tell a brother don't try, man I move like Andy. Got it like toys.
Enough man, I would never make that mind. She say in the club, tell a nigga don't try. Big man like you,
on payment. I get things flipped in the pavement, I regulate. Victim with kid, that's some gunplay. And I've seen my lips in the art phase. That's the one in the pit with a dark face. I'm in flips, I'm in rolling. Got my hands on the brick, got a broken. That's what I live to the moment. I'm in pissing side to all things around my soul. A big man like me, smoke green, running from the boys in blue. Trap, no sleep in the morning, I'ma feel brand new. Keep with me, we should roll me, shit, never calling you. Run around telling man, cookies, I would never call her blue. A big man like me, smoke green, running from the boys in blue. Trap, no sleep in the morning, I'ma feel brand new. Keep with me, we should roll me, shit, never calling you. Run around telling man, cookies, I would never call her blue.
Man, it's OTF, I don't know about friends. Man, Swiss been my boy from way back when. Man, the Pokemon kids don't know about Ken. Man, I ride for him, man, I ride that 10. Man, my brother's got things, don't tell about skanks. On the back road, trying to get a frontline stack though. In the hood, trying to knock these keys, man, I like those. And if this go like I'm back to the back road.
Man, I do it all for my team. Section. Out in the fast lane, I've always been feeding. I ain't ever been greedy. No, I ain't ever been needy. She give it up like the up getting skeevy. Dums in a body, real beastie. Friends wish they can catch me. At the crime scene, can't wait till it's from my whole team. Top rope with a Mac on full speed. Just ride around in hoopties. Now we at the shows like movies. Big back on the face like a cutie. Faction, all I smoke is fruity. Silence, just shake a doobie. Silence. A big man like me, smoke green, running from the boys in blue. Trap, no, feel brand new. We should roll me, shit, never calling you. Run around telling man cookies, I would never call her blue. A big man like me, smoke green, running from the boys in blue. Trap, no sleep in the morning, I'ma feel brand new. Calling you. Run around telling man cookies, I would never call her blue. Them man know we get bread. Them gal know that we.
Yo, what do you know about Laka? Wow. Wow. Yo, what do you know about Laka? Wow. Road get Laka. Face get chopper. Wow. Steel and copper. Wow. Everything Laka. What do you know about Laka? Hey yo, live out Laka. Wow. Everything Laka. Wow. Road get Laka. Wow. Steel and copper. Wow. Road get Laka. Wow. Shut down Laka. Wow. Everything Laka. Man, big man thing, what you know about Laka? Wow. Everything Laka. Steel and copper. When we do road night, man, everything Laka. Everything Laka. Wow. Everything Laka. Wow. Steel and copper. Wow. Road get Laka. Rifle a pop up. Last gal get whack up. On the take on the top up. It's about to get lock up. Man, war is war. Bro got the keys for the car. Bro got the sweets for the store. Man, I rise and pop up. Man, Shampy get bust up. That's a shot down lock up. Man, side road block up. Man, I'll knock your block up. Bro took that top up. There ain't no time for no stop ups. Man, Brazil get pop up. Man, I rise and pop up.
What you heard? Bro, man, I roll like shocker. Call up for a bird. Amnesia coming in proper. Four-door swerve. Skirt. Bang. Roll up lock off. Long nose ting with the two shells. You can see the front bit broke off. Still up in the streets. Still up in the peg. No way trying to make changes. Still up in my knees before I do street. And pray God take some changes. But I see them haters hating. I tell them man fuck off. And I bring trap when I do road. I don't need top up.
Wow, everything lock up. Wow, road get lock up. Wow, steel and copper. Wow, road get lock up. Wow, shut down lock up. Wow, everything lock up. Man, a big man thing, what you know about lock up? Wow, everything lock up. Steel and copper. When we do road night, man, everything lock up. Wow, everything lock up. Wow, everything lock up. Copper. Wow, road get lock up.
Come on, son.
Hey, everything like her. Trapline pop off. Funny boy, haha. She give me no Girl so it's turn it before the man run off. Phone Ishmatic for the matic, everything like her. 120 on the modes, in the German, but a hashtag Russian Skuska. Do it for my brother and mama. My wife said that it's pucker. Bro in the kitchen whipping Chris Tucker. I ain't to kissing, she could be a yucker. Talking to me, better talk to me proper. Walk with the Z's and I drop it on the runner. In the trap with some young guns. So it's young than a wild bun. Dum-dums and a shotgun. Big black, she a hot one. Fed to the top, and on the third floor. Back on me up to hop off. Smoke enough punching up a rasta. Phone kill like Honda. Red more trying to make that butter. M10 on squeeze, make it stutter. 2 shots on the top, that's dumb and dumber. High road, get lock off. Do it then run off. Hit it from the back, then I run off. Back to them D's getting chopped up, Mad Max. You already know I'm a shot off.
Wah, everything like her. Wah, road get like her. Wah, steel and copper. Wah, road get like her. Wah, shut down like her. Wah, everything like her. Got a big man thing, what you know about like her? Wah, everything like her. Steel and copper. When we do road act, man, everything like her. Everything like her. Wah, everything like her. Steel and copper. Wah, road get like her.
Man, I get everything locked, shots, everything pop, brick, block down blocks, gal with a belly ring top, she like semis and clocks, stepped in there, any man watch, section plus 20 man what, take a man's things, my man tell a man what, man I'll get everything locked up, movies, send a man in, tea house, send a man shop, groupies, send a man things, big axe, send a man blocks, 2 keys, get a man rob, 2 keys, get a man sing, 2 piece chips in a box, movies, clips, man watch, doobies lit, Dubai, big hit and rocks. Man, I breathe on dada. Old school like rugger. Man, I need them pounds and dollar. Grand two green like grasshopper. Guy with a big breast and a backer. One come get the room round at the dagger. Come think them guy get a road blocker. When we do road, man, I can move proper. Everything lit, everything lock up. We getting lit, champagne popper. Still up in the pits, trying to get guala. Skanking pop and them man runner. Roll with a brocky, full truck of blocker. Plastic you, them a bait like topper. Caught to the feds, got enough man lock off. Free GK, TY and rock up.
Wah, everything like her. Wah, go get like her. Wah, steel and copper. Wah, go get like her. Wah, shut down like her. Wah, everything like her. Got a big man thing, what you know about like her? Wah, everything like her. Steel and copper. When we do road act, man, everything like her. Everything like her. Wah, everything like her. Steel and copper. Wah, go get like her.
I do your chicken, do the brick, that's what I do. I don't love no shop, money card like Yu-Gi-Oh! I get the food done, I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Daddy want it strong, she don't know who to grow. I give her back shot, not in the booty hole. Can't stand the block, I'm sitting in the studio. Them man are pagans, they don't like my bros. But it's not racist, it's not the selling balls. Trains moving strangers, has it got the smoke? They ask me what I'm paying, you don't need to know. I don't like raving, but I like that show. I am so racist, how my came home, king on blazing, so do the road. I put my shoes on and then I do the road, get this money fast, when it's slow, I put my shoes on, then I do the road, in the trap I'm going hard, then I'm doing home. I put my shoes on, then I do the road, I put my shoes on, then I do the road, I put my shoes on, then I do the road, in the trap I'm going hard, then I'm doing home. He was making all these faces till I brought it out. Think he saw the sprays, he's acting normal now. Coming like the bailiff, come and do your house. Pop up boys on faces, I left my smoking house. There's some up faces in a naughty house. And I don't like strangers, so don't bring them round. Thinking about this money, you look like a noun. She thinks I think that I'm lucky, she loves sleeping now. Who's that kitty on the phone? Who's that gal on the line? What's that shine in the wrist? Man, a man ain't got time. Get a brick at 6, fuck around like a gun by a 9. That back in my stick, man, I come like what wilder. Step in the crib, put out some chips, looked in the mirror and smiled. Man, a man shit, pick up a stick, coming back and go wild. Money give a young nigga power, trying to have a long nigga tower. Like no in the streets, on these beats, trying to get straight bricks, make a young way take trips. Doing get sex on the M-way, hope the road can take this. When I roll it straight, hip, in the whip I take risks. Got a green box on the back seat, no first aid kit. I do roll trying to get that fuck a hand out or a set that hands on when I press that phone, man, respect when I'm in jet black. Man, I got a big man trying to undress man, like an island boy, I'm a press that. See everything live like webcam, I'm still out there trying to get fed back. Man's just grim, and food galley and up ting. Side boy in a handcuff ting. Stand up to your band up slim. You play that swim bad, man spin bad, I can make a mango swim. Walked in with a gym bag, looking like mango swim. I just came back to the tea house. Mango wings on a mango ting. The gang go where mango, come back bro, give me your mango skin. Ring arms and afro, big afro, looking like I had no trim. Back then when I had no work, get them down on the rainbow ting. Rockin', bare foot squash, bare big cooking. One swing to the face, I'm shooking. I don't need no gun, but I'm looking. Fatty on the phone, man, say she wanna joke it. Tomorrow on the phone, man, took him out of focus. Trying to stay quiet, but my girl's cooking. Side man, get cut up with a looking. He said he was a bad man, said he was a G. Said he got the O's and he fuck with the G's. Said he knew the section, said he couldn't E. Didn't know P and he didn't know B. Said he loved up, man, I want him to see. Picture these verses, cut up the street. If you don't laugh, cut up the street. Trying to get bands in abundance, in a band door with the bandits. Ready for my hands like sandwich, trying to eat food like a banquet. Money on my mind when I wake up, weekend, got a big bag in that shake up. AC in a man bag, act like 20 days that makeup. Pagans ain't friends, but we got me. Kyle up paper, bro, that's nice man's teeth breakers, so I might break out. Still smoking on loud pack, make cats and bad them break out.
That was that, boys.